Hi friends, welcome back again. So we are in the topic dealing with the subject dealing with economics, and we saw how the people are producing things, what are the things required for production, and especially we saw in the context of farming how the farmers were struggling in our country. Almost 60% of the farmers, they could not have that irrigation facility, therefore they could cultivate only one crop in a year, and the rest of the time they were simply sitting idle without doing anything. They were wasting their time, and therefore government introduced the irrigation facilities, and so people were able to cultivate two times or three times in a year in the same place of land. And also another thing that government did in order to improve the production in the farming is the government introduced the system green revolution. So in the last class I explained what is green revolution. Use better things, better seed that are able to produce higher fruit, higher production. Then use modern technique. So we know the people were using their ordinary local seeds, which requires less water. But once government provided irrigation facility, they are able to change high yielding variety of seeds. High yielding variety of seeds. So they were able to use that. Then they are able to use modern techniques. Earlier they were using bulls and buffaloes for ploughing, and it takes such a long time to do the ploughing. And so government provided tractors and tillers and modern equipments in order to plough. So within 5 minutes they are able to finish up the ploughing of the field, and the work can be started immediately. Then they are able to government provided so many fertilizers. Earlier they were using only cow dung and other things, and that is not able to help the soil much. So government provided chemical fertilizers so that the capacity of the soil to produce more, the quality of the soil is improved, and it is able to help the plant to grow faster and healthy and produce more. Then government also provided other machines. At the end, the machine is there for doing the harvesting, machine is there for threshing, and so on. So farmers' work was made easy. They were able to complete more work in less time. So because of all these things, the green revolution was very successful, and the total production of the crop was increased, and the food scarcity in our country was reduced. So it was really a good thing, and it was very successful thing. Let's see, you can take page number 4 towards the last paragraph. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high yielding varieties of seeds. Compared to the traditional seeds, the HYV seeds promise to produce much greater amounts of grain on a single plant. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantities of food grains than was possible earlier. HYV seeds, however, needed plenty of water and also chemical fertilizers and pesticides to produce best results. So, in order to make this high yielding variety of seeds successful, government provided more things in order to support them. That is modern techniques, that is fertilizers, pesticides, and all those things were provided. And higher yields were possible only from a combination of HYV seeds and irrigation, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. So the higher yielding was possible. Just using high yielding variety of seeds alone is not enough. Together with that, we need to use more things, like we need to provide water for irrigation, we We need to provide chemical fertilizers, the pesticides. So when all these things were combined and used together in the farm, then the seed was able to produce more. So the government was able to provide all these things. Therefore, the farmers did the work and they got a good harvest. Then farmers of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India. So the northern plain, we said in the other class, in the geography class, the best land for cultivation is the northern plain. So people in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, western Uttar Pradesh, these all come under northern plain, and this land is very fertile, and the people here in these places, they were the first one to try these modern farming methods. And the farmers in this region set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HYV chemical fertilizers and pesticides in farming. Some of them brought farm machinery like tractors and threshers, which made plowing and harvesting faster. They were rewarded with high yield of wheat. So people who created or made use of these things that are provided by the government, they were able to get a rich harvest at the end of the year, at the end of the season. So people who cooperated with the government, they were successful. They did not regret. It was good for them and they were successful. So in Palanpur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional varieties of 1300 kg per hectare. With the HYV seeds, the yield went up to 3200 kg per hectare. So see the difference. Before using this HYV seeds, or before the coming of this green revolution, the people or the farmers in Palanpur, from 1 hectare they were able to get only 1300 kg from 1 hectare. So after cultivating 1 hectare area, they were able to get only 1300 kg of wheat. Then after using this high yielding variety of seeds and the modern technique, that was increased to a bigger amount. How much it is? 3200 kg. So see the difference. It became almost 3 times more. It became almost 3 times more. So that was the difference in the production of the soil. The farmers were struggling and struggling. They were getting only 1300 kg from 1 hectare. But after using all this modern method, suddenly it became 3200 kg. And there was a large increase in the production of wheat. Farmers now had greater amounts of surplus wheat to sell in the market. So suddenly the production was increased and farmers were very happy. They got so much of extra harvest and they are able to go and sell it in the market, and with that money they can manage their other activities. They can buy the necessary things for their house and so on. So the farmers were very happy. They cooperated with the government and it gave them a lot of grain, and that way people who don't have grain, they can come and buy from them or from the market, and that way the green revolution was very successful. Now a few points let us discuss. What is the difference between multiple cropping and modern farming methods? So multiple cropping means, we already said, planting in the same area or same land more than 2 times or more. That is called multiple cropping. But modern farming means using the modern method, using the first of all the high yielding variety of seeds, and also using modern technique. So that is called modern farming. So multiple farming means planting many times in the same land, and modern farming means using modern technique and modern high yielding variety of seeds. Then the following table shows the production of wheat and pulses in India after the Green Revolution in units of millions and tons. And plot this on the graph. Was the Green Revolution equally successful for both the crops? So in the table you can see how the production increased. Production of wheat and pulses increased. In 65, 66, it was 10 and 10. Pulses 10 and wheat 10. In 1970, 71, it became 12 and 24. Earlier it was 10. In the following year it increased. Pulses increased from 10 to 12 and wheat from 10 to 24. They were getting only 10. Afterwards it became 24 tons. Then after 10 years, 80, 81, the pulses production went down. It became 12, became 11. But production of wheat increased. 24 became 36. So it became another so much of increase. 50% increase was there. Then 1991, the pulses production increased again. It reached 14. Then the wheat production also increased more, still more. It became 55. Then 2000, 2001, the pulses production went down. It became only 11. But wheat production increased again. It reached up to 70. So we see the farmers who use the modern technique, modern methods, and they were so much able to produce, improve the production of wheat. So the production of pulses not much, but they gave full concentration on wheat and they were able to get. So in 1966, 65, 66, wheat production was only just 10. But when it reached 2000, that is after 35 years, it was able to reach 70. See the improvement, what an improvement was there. Then, what is the working capital required by a farmer using modern farming methods? So, the previous class we learned about what are the things required. We need the fixed capital and working capital. The physical capital is divided into working capital as well as physical capital. So, they are asking the question, for a farmer to begin his farming, what is the physical capital, working capital that is required? What is working capital? One is the raw materials and second one is the money. So what is the raw materials? Raw materials is the seed that they need to, then that is a raw material. For a farmer, the seed is a raw material. Then what is another one? The money. So to buy that seed, you need money. Or you may need more people to be hired, so you have to pay them labor charge, so money is needed. So for people, the working capital is the seed as well as the money. Then modern farming methods require the farmer to start with more cash than before. Why? So the modern farming methods require farmers to start with more cash than before. Why? So when people were using their traditional methods, the traditional seeds and the traditional manure, fertilizer, cow dung and so on, they did not need much money. They will cultivate and they will keep that seed there, and next year they will use that seed again. So they don't need much money to buy. Everything they manage by themselves. But when they shift to these modern farming methods, they have to buy this HYV seeds. They cannot produce it at home. They have to go to the place. Government places are there where they are distributing this high yielding variety of seed. They have to go and buy from there. Then they have to buy the fertilizer. They have to buy the pesticide. They have to pay money for the tractor, packing charge, all that. So they require a lot of money in the beginning to invest. Then only they will get good harvest. So comparing to the old style of farming, the new farming, farmer requires money in the beginning. So at the end he will get back. He will get a very good harvesting at the end. Then he can sell some of his wheat or paddy and get that money that is required for the next year again. So he will not be losing it. In the beginning he may be able to spend some money. He had to spend some money, but at the end of the harvest he will get back more than what he spent. Then he can use that money as part of that money for next year, keep aside for buying seeds and fertilizers, all that. Then the rest of the money he can spend for his family. Maybe he can buy new things for his family, dress for his family, or he can repair his house, or whatever is the need for him, he can make use of it for his family in the for after that harvest. So that is how we come to the end of this, that green revolution. Now let us see another point. Will the land sustain? We said we are doing all these things in the land. Will that land be able to sustain? Will they able to continue to produce the harvest in the same way? That is the next point. Will the land sustain? Will the land sustain? So land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be very careful in its use. We know land is a natural resource. The book of geography we learned land is one of the natural resource. Therefore, we have to take care of it nicely, protect it. We cannot simply misuse it. We have to use it in the best way possible so that it will be able to produce good result without getting spoiled. Once the land is getting spoiled, then we will not be able to cultivate or produce good results. So we have to be careful. We have to make use of the land in a very best possible way. So scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. So the modern researchers, the people who have made the research, the scientists who have made the research, they say that people who are cultivating on their land using this modern technique, they are overusing it. They are making the land produce more than what it is supposed to by putting extra fertilizers, by giving more chemicals, and so they are overusing the land. And in many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to the increased use of chemical fertilizers. So they have found out in many places where the people have used green revolution. In green revolution, we said we use a lot of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So the researchers or the scientists, they have found out after the green revolution, most of the land, the fertility was lost because of using chemicals there. The soil quality was lost. Also, continuous use of groundwater for tube irrigation has reduced the water table below the ground. And most of the people during the Green Revolution, they were pumping out water from the tube well. Tube well is very deep under the earth, and we can pump out water and irrigate all the land. So they were going on irrigating the farm, and so much of groundwater was taken out, and the water level under the earth was going down and down. So that affects the top layer. Top layer will become very dry. When the water level is going down and down, the top layer becomes very dry. So that was another problem that the land was facing. And environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over many years. So we know the soil, the quality of the soil is becoming good not within 1 year or 2 years. Slowly it is built up. Every year through the natural process, slowly the soil becomes good. But suddenly we use lot of fertilizers and the soil's capacity is lost. It becomes very unnatural soil. The good quality is lost. And so also the groundwater level, slowly it comes up. When the rain comes, water will sink into the land, sink into the soil, and slowly that groundwater level will come up. But when farmers are pumping out that water for irrigation purpose, then suddenly that water level is going down. So what was built over many years, like the fertility of the soil and the water level underground, it is all coming up slowly, and it needs a lot of years of sustenance. But During the Green Revolution, people started pumping out the water and the groundwater level suddenly went down. Then people were using lot of chemicals there, then the quality of the soil was lost and so on. Those things were taking place. So once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. Once if you lose that quality of the soil, and it is very difficult to make that soil natural again, make it fertile again. And also, if the water level is going down very low, then it will take long time to come up again. The rain has to come and water has to sink down and it has to go very deep down. Then only slowly it will come up. It may take years to become natural again. So it is very important that we take care of our natural resource, the land. So using too many fertilizers and pumping out underground water from the well, it is too much means it is affecting the land. So that is a situation that the people are facing in India now. Now, after reading the following reports from newspapers, magazines, write a letter to the agriculture minister in your own words, telling him how the use of chemical fertilizers can be harmful. So, it is a activity that is given to you, an activity suggested to you that you, after knowing all this, side effects of using fertilizers and pumping out underground water, you write a letter to your education minister, make him understand, make him inform that if you continue to allow people to use fertilizers in their land, how can it affect or how it will badly affect the soil in your area. And the chemical fertilizers provide minerals which dissolve in water and are immediately available to the plants, but these may not be retained in the soil for long. They may escape from the soil and pollute groundwater, rivers and lakes. So this is a newspaper report which speaks about the advantage of chemical fertilizers as well as the disadvantage. What disadvantage is that when we use chemical fertilizers in the field, it gets diluted with the water very fast, then the plants are able to absorb it and the plants will grow very fast. If you put cow dung and other things, it will take time, slowly it will get dissolved into the soil and the plant takes a little longer time to absorb it and grow slowly. But chemical fertilizers means immediately the growth comes. That's why people are going for this chemical fertilizers. But another disadvantage is that when we put chemicals into the soil absorbs it and then it is getting mixed with water and then the water will go down to the soil, it will reach up to the well from where we are taking water for our household activities, for drinking, bathing and so on. It will go down to the river and it will affect us, our health. It will affect the health of the water creatures like fish and so when this chemical slowly entering into the river water gets polluted, the fish and other aquatic creatures they also will be affected. So it's very dangerous. Then the consumption of chemical fertilizers in Punjab is highest in the country. So it is the Punjab who is using the chemical fertilizers maximum in our country. More than the other farmers, the Punjab farmers are using these fertilizers. Then the continuous use of chemical fertilizers has led to degradation of soil health. So because of continuously using these fertilizers, it is affecting the quality of the soil. Before the soil was very good, soft and so after using these fertilizers, the soil becomes very hard. Then Punjab farmers are now forced to use more and more chemical fertilizers and other inputs to achieve the same production level. So we said as we use these chemicals, fertilizers, the quality of the soil is becoming poorer and poorer. So in order to increase the production, if the quality of the soil is becoming poor, then the production will be less. So in order to improve the quality of the production, we need to put more fertilizers. If this year I am using 10 kg fertilizers, next year I have used 15 kgs of fertilizers in order to get that same amount of production that I received this year, because the quality of the soil is going down year by year, and so as the years pass by I have to use more and more fertilizers. I have to increase the amount of fertilizers. That is what is happening in Punjab. So it will also affect the health of the people more and more. Then this means cost of cultivation is rising very fast. So when farmers have to put more fertilizers there, that means they have to buy the fertilizers. That means the production cost is increasing. Farmer has to spend more money in order to buy all these things for the farming. They have to buy the seed, they have to buy the fertilizers, pesticides, all that. So as they have to use more fertilizers, they have to spend more money to do the production, do the cultivation, and so the production will be increasing, the production expense will be increasing. That's the problem that the modern farmers in the Punjab they are facing. So that is, we can show this is a newspaper report, and as I said, we can write a letter. You don't need to send it to the minister, but you can just write in a paper and in your own words, in your own language, how the people will be facing the problem if farmers continue to use the fertilizers and pesticides. How will it affect the lives of the people as well as that of the animals and aquatic animals and so on. So you can write in your own letter or your own words and explain to the minister, address to the education minister, government of Arunachal Pradesh, Itanagar. You write that address and send it. Then take a photo and send it to me, send it to my number, and I will just correct and send it back to you again. So for today we shall wind it up. That is the end of that topic. The next day we will begin another topic, how the land is distributed between farmers. So the land is not equally distributed. We said in the beginning that 80% of the people have got big plot of land, and other 20% of people they have got very little amount of land. So the land is not equally distributed among the farmers. Some have got more, some have got less. That topic will come in the next class. So for today we shall wind it up, and thank you for listening. Have a nice time.